Hey there, I wanted to go over what I learned tonight in the class, Tracing the Story of God in the Bible. This was week number 8, session number 8. And so tonight we talked about some really interesting things. Our first lesson was on discipline and discipleship. And lesson 12 is on when humans go too far. With discipline and discipleship, we talked about discipline in the Bible. And we talked about the fact that discipline as a Bible concept is not easily defined. There's no standard overarching principle of discipline except one, and that is that God is judge. And we have 3 forms of discipline in Scripture. We have punishment, which we looked at that. We looked at the second form of discipline, which is correction, and the third form, which is teacher/disciple. And we talked about the Wesleyan Arminian twist to these forms of discipline. We talked about disciplining God's love, and how evil is incompatible with the existence of an all-powerful, all-loving God, and how this is the largest obstacle of faith in existence. We talked about the Epicurean quadrilemma. If you want to look that up, you can Google it. And then the common Christian responses to the Epicurean quadrilemma. And then we talked about some of the weaknesses of the responses. And then we talked about the question, why does an all-powerful, all-loving God allow evil to exist? And changing the question, and not answering the question, but changing the question that says, can I believe in an all-powerful, all-loving God, even though evil exists? Then we went on to when humans go too far. We talked about the what happened to the impenitent, those who are unsaved. We talked about what the Bible says about hell. We talked about the grave. We talked about Hades. We talked about Abraham's bosom. We talked about the word hell appears 13 times in the New Testament, 12 times by Jesus and 1 time by James. We talked about 3 words translated hell in the New Testament. We have Gehenna, we have Tartaro, and we have Hades. And we talked about the story of the rich man and Lazarus. That's in Luke 16:19-31. We talked about the place of torment. We talked about and the dead are judged and the dead are raised, and death and Hades are emptied. And those whose names are written in the book of life are allowed entrance into the New Jerusalem, and those not written in the book of life are cast into the lake of fire. Then we have a biblical timeline, which is a person dies unsaved. They go to a place of torment awaiting the judgment, and then after the judgment, they're cast into the lake of fire, the second death. And then we have support for that timeline in the parable of the weeds, Matthew 13:24-30 and 36-43. We have the parable of the 10 virgins, Matthew 25:1-13. We have the parable of the sheep and the goats in Matthew 25:1-46. And we have the baptism of the dead in 1 Corinthians 15:29. And so then we talked about some of the confusion behind hell and words that words that people think mean hell in the Bible, but they actually mean something different. We talked about Greek mythology, superstition, and even tradition and literature that are involved in that. And that there's more to it, but that's basically it. So it was a good class. I learned a lot, and unfortunately, it was because of the rainy, stormy, cold weather. I'm going through a really high amount of pain tonight. So I didn't take a whole lot of notes. I didn't ask any questions tonight. I just listened. I took a few notes, but I just listened mostly, and it was just a lot to think about. But it was a very good session tonight. He said we have 3 weeks left of this class, and then we're done. So, yeah, that's what I learned tonight in my class, Tracing the Story of God in the Bible. And so, I'm going to go and get this uploaded. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.